Hello. Right, first of all, I appreciate I'm really washed out. We're just gonna have to crack on. I don't know how to change it. The weather here today is just, it's rainbow weather. It's raining hard one minute, it's sunny the next. The next minute it's raining and it's sunny. And yeah, there's been plenty of rainbows here today, which is lovely, but from a filming point of view, it's impossible. I don't know where to film. I really wanted to film in here because before everything starts to die off and it gets too dark and cold and all the things, I wanted to do one video in here so I could show you what I meant in the last video when I filmed in here. I just wanted to show you how it looks when everything is grown. It's lovely, look. Let's put down my coffee. Let's spin you to this side. It's a cucumber plant. There's even a cucumber hiding behind that leaf. Lovely. And over here, I have my tomatoes. Don't know why I said it like that. And they've only just started ripening, so salads for me, it's only taken me months, but I got a harvest, so I'm happy with that. So yes, the last time I filmed in here, it was summertime. It's now autumn. I have my pumpkin mug. I will be drinking out of this mug as much as possible until about December, and then I'll move on over to the Christmas mugs because I'm that person. Listen, wherever you can get a dopamine hit, grab it. It doesn't matter if you're cringe or basic or whatever, life's too short. But there were things that I wanted to show you today as well, not just my mug, which is very pretty. I think I was threatening to knit a pair of socks the last time we chatted, so I want to start a kind of series of like, and I don't know what to call it, but something along the lines of what's in my project bag. Well, what's in my project bag today? A lot of thread. Look, I've got all of this thread gubbins. That needs to get hung up back on the wall because I'm not actually doing any embroidery. But look! I have sock yarn. I went for, I don't know what I'm looking for. I went for sock yarn because I assumed that if I bought something called sock yarn, it would be okay for socks. That's the level that we're working with here, folks. And I just went with this colour because I thought it was lovely. And apparently it's self-striping. We shall see. It's probably self-striping for a normal person, but I'm sure I can mess that up. But also, I was looking at some YouTube videos because I want to know how I'm going to be doing this and what to use. And I thought I found something that would work. 9-inch circular needles, and I bought some. I mean, I don't know what I was thinking. I know what 9 inches is, but my brain didn't really translate that to mean teeny tiny needles. Is this right? Do people knit on these? They seem very small. Is that not going to get annoying? I don't know, maybe. I'm going to have to spin you around so that you can see these birds. But yeah, so I've got myself some of these, and I have absolutely no idea how I'm going to get on with that. There we go. I've never used yarn that fine before, ever. This is going to be such an experience for me, and for my conversations with people, I'm expecting to either love this or hate it. It's going to be Marmite. I don't know which, but I'm looking forward to finding out. So anyway, yes, a step forward has been taken. The other thing that I want to do is, some of you will remember, I think it was last year, I finally finished my granny square cardigan. Well, the lady who made that pattern, what did she do? She posted a picture. She's got this pattern for a granny square, which is puffy and squidgy and just so tactile. It just makes you want to go, or maybe that's just me. And I have thought about what it would look like to do either a cardigan with it or a jumper, because I'm a jumper person. I've got one right here, but I've had to take it off because I'm hot. And I did try to think in my mind, what would a jumper look like made out of those particular granny squares? And I was thinking of a forest green because I'm obsessed. And this picture was the puffy squares in a forest green. And if that wasn't like a sign from the universe, it probably wasn't. It's coincidence. But my brain went, the universe wants you to make that jumper, Kim. I barely made the cardigan. With a pattern, with an easy pattern that was easy to follow, I still managed to mess it up. So God knows how I'm going to do with a jumper when I don't have a pattern to follow. I'm just going to have to wing it. But I also kind of like winging it and not knowing what I'm doing. And I kind of like the process of stuffing up with something. Because with embroidery, I'm a bit anally retentive with that. I tend to sort of hate the things that I do, even when they're good, even when I can see that I'm making progress and improving the skill. I still, you know, I think it's a creative thing. I think we stare so much at our work that by the end of it we can only see what our perceived flaws. So yeah, I'm very self-critical when it comes to the hand embroidery, but when it comes to knitting and crochet, that's my, for me, craft, and it's the one that I let myself suck at, and I kind of embrace the suckiness. For example, the granny square cardigan that I've made is just so you can tell a beginner has made it, put it that way, but I love it for that. And I've got it hanging up in my office just because seeing it gives me a little hit of dopamine. I love the colours, I love the way they pop, and I love the fact that it gives my studio a little pop of colour, and I just, even if I never wear it, if I just have it there as something to look at, if that isn't art in a nutshell, or the whole creative process, I mean, I think that's kind of beautiful. So yes, that could be another whip to have on the go. And it would be a little bit easier just to be crocheting with one solid colour rather than having to constantly switch. And it'll be a nice easy one that I can pick up and put down, and it can shut my brain off in the evenings. That'll be lovely. So I might do that, and then I might get finished by the time I'm 50. But what was I just saying? It was the process. It's the process that counts. So yes, I've got no whips to show you. I'm explaining them to you. Does that count? I hope so. Anyway, I'm trying to think what I was talking about in the last podcast episode. I think I was knee deep in making the autumn collection for the shop, which is done, dusted. I put that up in the shop after the initial launch busyness. You're supposed, or I'm supposed to stick around, because this is the part of a launch that I'm really bad at. I'm good at the pre-launch stuff and the launch itself, but then there's another step to it. There's the post-launch stuff, and I have this habit of just falling down into a puddle and just disappearing. So there's a lot of little build-up, then there's this big fanfare, and then you're supposed to keep it going. And I don't seem to be able to do that. This one was no exception. I finished the launch, I fell into a happy heap, and I stayed in the heap. And I took some time off, which, to be fair, I really needed. It was time off from doing a lot of the stuff in the business that I usually do, just to keep the plate spinning. So I was off social media altogether. And I didn't need to film anything new for the channel because I'd already got the videos filmed. So I actually had a couple of weeks off of having to think of ideas and plan them and film them and editing and stuff. And I was a little bit afraid that I'd get bored and that I would want to come back, and I didn't. 2 weeks sped past, and it was lovely to spend those 2 weeks working on my business rather than in it. I didn't get to spend as much time doing that as I'd wanted to, because the whole point of me taking those 2 weeks off, more bunny ears, was because I knew that it was going to be a busy and stressful time with personal stuff. So I was clearing the decks for that reason, essentially. Which turned out to be a really bloody good idea. Personal stuff being, my daughter was starting secondary school and all of the stuff that went with that. And she's not a big fan of school on the best of days. And we'll leave it there. I will definitely take more time off again in the future. That was definitely well needed. It would be really nice to be able to do that when there isn't so much going on in the background, so that I can truly make use of it. The only problem is the filming videos in advance. I'm not good at batching content. I know that a lot of creators do that. I just can't seem to do it. I tend to do better. The hell was that? If it was a little moth or something, that's fine, but if it's a little midgy bitey thing, no. Anyway, working on the business, what was quite interesting was that I realised that I've known it for a little while, but I've created a business which is doing pretty well, but it has a natural cap to it. And obviously cost of living, everything goes up. So I need to kind of make a little bit more for my business than I currently am. And it's very difficult to do that with my business the way it currently is without doing more things. And there's only so much time in the day. If I'm already using it to do what I'm currently doing, it's going to be very difficult to get more out of the time that's already used for other things. So yes, realigning. And I've just seen what that little flappy thing was. They're little baby moths. That's actually kind of cute. What are you doing in here? All right, welcome. Get off my jumper though. And then the other thing that I want to do, whether or not I'll get to do it remains to be seen, but I do want to put more time into this channel. I want to just turn up for myself and make videos that have nothing to do with business and everything to do with waffle and crafting and yeah, maybe growing things, maybe not so much growing things because it's winter, but you know what I mean, just more lifey stuff. So despite it being a little time since last sat down to talk to you, I can't really think of anything else. Things have just been chugging along really. You may have noticed that I posted or reposted the curtain to dress refashion video here. That was because I was really pleased with that video and it bombed on my other channel. Ooh, I laughed too loudly, I scared the birds away. But yeah, it bombed and I didn't really know what to do with it, but I didn't want to just delete it because I'd worked so hard on it. So I deleted it from that channel and it has a home here now, but it also plays two parts. One was to sort of move it to the right channel, but also I finally got an idea for that. And I may as well share it here. The idea is I'm going to make a jumper out of it because jumpers are what I wear. I don't wear dresses so much, so I don't really know why I turned it into a dress. Also, it's very heavy and annoying. So if I'm going to get annoyed every time I put a piece of clothing on, I'm not going to wear it. I'm just not. So I'm going to turn it into a jumper that I might actually wear. I'm not sure how it would work. Do you remember what I was saying at the beginning of this podcast about botching it? That wasn't the word I used. Effing about and seeing what happens is essentially what I'm going to try and do with this soon-to-be top. So it started off as curtains, then got turned into a dress, and will hopefully end up as a jumper. The moth did its mothy thing again. So that's three WIPs, 3 projects that I could have on the go by the time we next speak. But that could be interesting because then at least I can show you something rather than just wittering on about nonsense. I will witter on about nonsense, it's what I do, don't. I feel strangely calmer after a podcast episode. Like I've finally gotten all of my thoughts out of my head. And then it's quieter for a little while. Basically this channel, I am going to be leaning into it hard and fast as a kind of creative outlet for myself. I've made mention before of how knitting and crochet are the crafts that I go to that I will flatly refuse to monetize because they're my for me crafts. Well, this channel is kind of my for me channel, and it means I'll get to talk about some of the stuff that I don't get to talk about over there, like the things that I've grown and my chickens and the seasons and oh right, I knew there was something I wanted to talk about and ask you, which is just a bit random, but bear with. Random is my thing. Random core. This is part of it. So am I the only person who has like seasonal boxes or collections of stuff that you might, like if you have an attic or something, you might pull out at the start of each season? Or is that just me? Because I was talking to someone who thinks I'm a little bit mad. In my attic, I have got, at any given time, 3 boxes full of, well, they used to be full of seasonal stuff. They're less so now. When my daughter was little, they'd be full of like crafting stuff, clothing that we only ever used in certain seasons, that kind of thing. As she's grown older, she's less into crafting and collecting all of the nature bits and stuff. I've never grown out of that. That's definitely a me thing. but I feel the need to sort of return to these seasonal boxes and start filling them with stuff. And one of the things that they used to have were cups that I would use at certain times of the year. God, I'm hearing myself say this out loud, it sounds so sad, but I also love it so much. So I'm desperate to know if there is anybody else that does something similar to this out there. Please say there is, otherwise I'll be alone in my insanity. But if you don't, can I suggest that you start? It's so fun. So for example, in my autumn box this year, when I pack it all away, I'll be sad because this is going in it. And the idea is, before you get too sad and think, oh, we're packing away such a beautiful mug. But I'm going to have a beautiful mug for every season, so there will always be a beautiful mug. The reason why I do this, I'm getting animated now. The reason why I do this is because at the start of each season, I love the process of packing away the old season and bringing in the new. And it feels like a fresh start as well. I can kind of renew what was good about the season just gone, and I can put down anything that wasn't so good about it and start again. It's like instant happy. Yeah, does anybody else do something similar? Just little things that we can unpack that make you think it's summer now. Or autumn, as the case may be. Yes, I am well aware how that sounds, but in my brain and in my heart, it feels really, really good. So I was just curious to see if anybody does something similar. Right, okay, so I have actually been cut off from filming because my camera ran out of space. So I had to delete a video that I'm not going to use so that I could film another video to wrap this up. Plus, it's starting to get dark and the clouds are looking very moody, which means it's going to start raining any minute. And it would be mean for me to leave the door shut and leave the chickens outside in the pouring rain. So, me and my empty pumpkin mug are going to go in for a refill. Thank you for joining me for another waffly video. I promise you they will start to have a little bit more words, Kim, come on, structure. There we go. And there'll be things, WIPS to show you, and yeah, I've got a lot of good ideas for this channel. I just haven't had the time to do them, and then obviously there's a lot of space in between the podcasts, and then I start to feel antsy, and then I have to do this, which is literally a brain dump just to get back into the swing of things. The brain dumps hopefully will be fewer and fewer, a bit more structure and a bit more interesting stuff coming this way very soon, hopefully. Anyway, as I say, thank you for joining me, and come and let me know if you have seasonal boxes that you get out with each season. And if you don't, you think I'm crazy, just I know I don't need reminding. I'm looking for enablers here. Okay? I'll speak to you again soon. Bye bye.